Hey there, CJ Math students. Welcome to Homework 3.7, Comparing Unit Rates. You watched the video, you can go ahead and check off there. Please put your name on your homework. And it's practice homework. Calculators are okay. It's due tomorrow. So we've got two Girl Scout troops are completing a wilderness camp out. Use the information to answer the questions. So we got the blue troop. It hikes 2/3 of a mile every half hour. And then we've got the yellow troop, hikes 3/4 of an hour every 1/3 of an hour. So we got two different rates going on there. So for the blue troop, I'm going to do kind of the rates: the cabin, the restroom, campfire, and campfire to cabin. Right. So for the blue troop, we've got what we're comparing is our miles over our hours, and we're trying to figure out a rate here. So we know we go 2/3 of a mile every half hour. So that's 2/3 over 1/2, right? And we want to set this equal to the cabin to the restroom. So here's our cabin. I guess we should say cabin. And then here's our restrooms. And we want to figure out how long it's going to take them to walk that 3/4 of a mile. So we know the 3/4. We just don't know how long it's going to take them, x, right? So let's go ahead and multiply. So 2/3 times x, that's 2/3 x, equals 1/2 times 3/4. 1/2 times 3/4 is 3/8. And if you don't believe me, just double check it on your calculator, right? 1/2 times 3/4, you'll get 3/8, or 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 4 is 8. That's how I get 3/8, right? And then the last thing is to figure out this x is I just divide by 2/3. So this looks weird because it's like a fraction divided by a fraction. And so we've got those canceling out, and we got what x is left to 3/8 divided by 2/3. So again, you got a calculator. 3/8 divided by 2/3, and that gives you 9/16. So it's going to take you them 9/16 of an hour to hike from the cabin to the restrooms, right? So for the yellow troop, it's the same thing. It's just miles over hours, except their rate is a little bit different. It's 3/4 of a mile for every 1/3 hour, and it's the same thing. It's 3/4 over x. So I'm going to let you solve that, okay? For the restrooms to the campfire, again, the rate for the blue troop is miles over hour, which is their rate. If you can go back up to the top, it's 2/3 of a mile every 1/2 hour, right? So 2/3 over 1/2 is equal. Now you need the restrooms to the campfire distance. So restrooms to campfire, here's your campfire right here, and that's 1.5 miles, right? So we should probably change that to 3/2. 3/2 miles and x. So we're just going to do our multiplication. 2/3 times x is obviously 2/3 x is equal to, and then again, 1/2 times 3/2. 1 times 3 is 3, 2/2 is 2, so 3/4, right? If you don't believe me, again, you can check it in your calculator. 1/2 times 3/2, right? So now that we've done that, basically what we're going to try and do instead is go ahead and divide. So divide by 2/3. Divide by 2/3. Divide by 2/3. So I'm left with x on there. So x is equal to, what's 3/4 divided by 2/3? So again, you got your calculator. 3/4 divided by 2/3, and that gives you 9/8, or 1 1/8, right? So I'll say 9/8, right, or 1 1/8 hour, right? So it takes the blue troop to go from the restroom to the campfire 1 1/8 hour hiking, right? So for the yellow troop, again, they have this unique rate of 3/4 a mile every 1/3 an hour, right? So basically you're going to set it up the same way, except the only thing that's going to be different is this part right here. It's 3/4 of a mile every 1/3 hour equals, and then what's the distance from the restroom to the campfire? 1 1/2, or aka 3/2 miles equal to x, right? And I'll let you solve that. So for the campfire to the cabin, so here's the campfire to the cabin. It's only 1/2 of a mile. So we take the blue troop's rate again, which is miles over hours, which is 2/3 of a mile every 1/2 hour. And now we are trying to say how long is it going to take them to go from the campfire to the cabin if it's a half mile. So it's a half mile on top, and we don't know how long it's going to take them on bottom. So 2/3 times x is 2/3 x, equal to 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. If you don't believe me, again, double check it on your calculator. And then, as always, we are just finishing by dividing by 2/3, right? Because that's what's attached to x, the coefficient. So x is equal to 1/4 divided by 2/3. Again, 1/4, really times 3/2 since you're flipping it. Or you can double check in your calculator. 1/4 divided by 2/3 is 3/8 of an hour. Right, so I'm going to allow you to set up the campfire to cabin all by yourself for the yellow troop. And remember, you have to finish cabin to restrooms and restrooms to the campfire as well. But basically, you're taking that same rate and then putting in that distance for that last one. Okay. All right, the backside is just a review kind of stuff we've already covered for a quiz that you're going to take on Friday. So it says solve each of the problems. These represent types that could be on your test/quiz. Be sure to ask questions if you need help with the topic. So first one was, I can determine if the relationship is proportional. So let's remember, for A, I have to have a constant of proportionality. So remember, this is something y over x, right? So I'm dividing not 2/5, but 5/2. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5, right? 5/2 is 2.5. 9 divided by 4 is 2.25. 9/4 is 2.25. So is this proportional? No, it's not, because it has to have the same constant across. So let's try this one. 1.5/3, that's 0.5. 2.5/5, that's 0.5. 3.5/7, that's 0.5. 4.5/9, that's 0.5, and 5.5/11, that's also 0.5. So this is proportional, yes, because at every point there's a constant of proportionality. Remember, it says for a graph to be proportional, we have to have a constant rate, and it's got to go through the origin. Well, this tells us we're not. We have a constant rate of 9, but then we're also adding a half, so this is not proportional. For this one, I have a constant rate of 3/4, and I got nothing added onto it, so yes, it is proportional. This graph, does it go through the origin? Well, here's the origin right here. It's definitely a straight line, but it doesn't go through the origin, so therefore it is not proportional. It does not go through the origin. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to try and find the constant of proportionality in these problems. Remember, it's just y over x, and I'll allow you to go ahead and do that. Call me if you have questions.